Hi, I'm Litza and this is Esther and We Are Moving. And partly why we made it together is I really wanted to work with Esther and I really wanted to experiment with drawing and I wanted to do an experimental animation project. And she is completely up for it and added a community project, which we were both really into doing.
I got funding from the St James Street Big Local to work on something involving the local community. So we filmed the local high street of people walking up and down, and we used rotoscoping techniques of projecting an image onto a screen and working really big to draw over that and then taking an image of that. So we created an animation. As we worked on a wall in your flat with very messy paints and with charcoal, and we did that in the mill, the community centre.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful seeing people make art and stretch and move their bodies and move, and reach for things. And that was just great. That was the joyful thing about the drawing.
Yeah, and also that they could see it being made as well. They could watch what was being made as they were making it. And you were brilliant at that. That worked brilliantly. And it's a really good way of tricking yourself into making images without thinking about it too much. And we made a fantastic animation out of it.
And everything's always surprising. The beauty is you bring in an element of people and it's even more surprising.
Yeah.
And what are you going to be doing next, Esther?
I'm going to make a mess with my children now.
Like all good parents, eh?
What are you doing, Liz?
I'm just going to see. I'm going to I'm going to let it happen. I'm going to see what feels right to channel my energies into. It's not a time for kind of pushing things into the wrong holes.
Well said.
Well, thank you, hon.
Okay, so we're recording.
Yeah.
Right, so
Hey, hello.
this is Litza Jansz, who is a fantastic artist and an animator who teaches at CityLit, and I'm Esther Neslen, a Walthamstow artist and animator, and I met Litz at a CityLit course for developing fine art practice about 5 years ago, and there's about 7 of us who still meet up and are really fantastic peer group support. Tell us about the project, Litz.
Well, I wanted. I was kind of at a point where I wanted to just experiment and play with, with drawing and experiment with drawing, and I really wanted to. I wanted to do some animation, and yeah, I just wanted to experiment and play. And you were around, Esther. You were a fantastic idea to experiment and play with, and we met up to see what we'd really enjoy doing, and that came up, just experimental drawing and figurative drawing in an experimental way. And yeah, and then you started talking. It was you who had the idea. You were looking at doing something in Walthamstow, and I really loved the idea. So what was the idea about doing something in Walthamstow?
Yes, there was the St James Street Big Local had small pots of funding for £1,000. We got £1,000 to do all of this, and it was to. I was very interested and a bit concerned about the gentrification of the St James Street area, and a lot of the St James Street funding was going into that. And I wanted to make a film that was about the people who live here now. And about what we use our space for. So it was focusing on the people who walk on our high street, and also encouraging people who live around the high street and our end of the high street to look at each other as we were making the animation. And I also wanted to give local people an opportunity to make marks very quickly. And to experience making artwork in a similar way to the way that artists make artwork.
It really matters that the process was so pleasurable, that people were just jumping into it. That was brilliant. And you were brilliant actually at really helping make that happen. That was great. We were both.
I think both were.
Yeah.
I think we were both very enthusiastic about what it was that we were doing, and very dynamic in trying to make it work. And we both just wanted to experiment with different ways of mark making, different ways of making animation in a 2D way.
Well, it was great to see, because we both wanted, in a way, we wanted to do something with integrity in the community, meaning we didn't want some art wash. So we wanted people to really engage in something that's about themselves, and enjoy the process and see how the process can do things that they didn't anticipate, And in our project, it was all about not being able to anticipate. You have something very simple like people walking down the street, but even that we just took it. I mean, there wasn't much selection and choice. That was just stick your camera up and, whatever the surprise of the moment was. And it was wonderful, actually.
People are fascinated.
Yeah.
Even when they're just walking down the street, people are fascinated.